Yesterday in class, we posed a question to you of what could have caused a channel on Mars to form, lava or water. Today, we're going to look at two different sides of that argument and how to actually make a scientific argument. This is a subject that Jalapeno is very passionate about, and that's why you hear him yelling in the background, because he wants to make sure you guys get this right. So scientists are always asking questions about the natural world. The question about the Mars rover or the Mars channel that you saw yesterday is an example of this. Even the question you answered on your do first about what happened to the water in the puddle is an example of someone asking a question about the natural world. So things like, why do things look the way they do? What form this? How do things work? Why does this happen? You see a lot of pictures here that kind of reminded me of ways that we ask questions about the natural world. When we do this, the best way to find our answer is to gather information about the world. And that's what a scientist is going to be doing. They're going to be actually looking into those topics, asking more questions, trying to investigate and figure out more information so that we can make a claim about what we think the answer could be. When we're making a scientific argument, it means that there could be more than one claim to answer a question. And that's always true, that there could be more than one side of an argument. So a scientific argument always begins with a question. Something like what happened to the water in the puddle is an example of this question that we could be answering. You'll really have to try and ignore Jalapeno, who doesn't like the rain. After that, you have a claim that proposes the answer to the question. So between asking the question and giving a claim, you should have been looking up some information or doing some tests or research to try and find your best answer. So your claim actually gives the answer to the question. Your evidence then supports the claim. What did we find that could support my answer or my side of the argument? And then finally, how does the evidence relate to the claim? This is our reasoning. What does that evidence actually mean when it comes to your argument or your answer? If we look at this in more of a diagram form, you have your question, which everything starts with, and then you're going to state your claim to begin, and then you're going to start to use your evidence to actually back up your claim. And there could be more than one piece of evidence. There could be more than one types of claim that have evidence that go with them. The reasoning are these dotted lines in between that connect your evidence to your claim or even your evidence to other pieces of evidence. We went through this pretty quickly because this is a lot of what we did last week when we did our claim evidence reasoning, and you guys did really well on that exit ticket. So when we think about this question of what happened to the puddle, you already made your claim. Most of you probably said that the water in the puddle evaporated. That's a really good claim, but now we need to take it one step further and actually determine what evidence do we have and what supports that claim. So some evidence that I could know about this puddle and about the day that she walked by this puddle and then saw that the water disappeared. The highest temperature on that day was 32 degrees Celsius. We typically use Fahrenheit, so that would be about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So I know that it was a really warm day that day. The puddle was also in the sun all day. If I look at this picture, there is no shade around. There's no trees or anything. So I know that it was really hot that day. I know that the puddle was in the sun all day. Using this evidence or this information, go ahead and fill in what your evidence and your reasoning could be to support your claim about the puddle. Pause here, answer that question. In the next section, we're going to continue with what a really good claim, evidence, and reasoning could be. And then we'll look at another situation on Mars that you might have some questions about.